Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's episode of The Stand. You're here with Shane, Lance, and myself, George, and it's Tuesday the 19th. 20th. Well, I lost a day somewhere. Welcome to the show. We have a lot of things we want to talk about. Some of them terrible, some of them interesting, some of them kind of humorous, depending on how you look at it. So we're going to kick it off with, I know Shane's, he's got a big thing he wants to talk about, so we'll let him get started.
Right. Tonight's show we're going to be covering possibly the brink of war here in the United States and possibly abroad. Possible Russian hacking of the now convened, they're finishing up the election in Georgia. The CNN's already coming out with possible Russian hacking involved in that.
Like voting machine tampering and
yeah.
leading it all back to Russian hacking.
The Russians made it rain, too, and caused people to stay home from the polls.
You can't make it up, folks.
You really can't make this stuff up.
It's in the news, man. So we're covering the religion of peace during this month of Ramadan. How friendly and peaceful they really are with the amount of attacks within just 48 hours. We'll be covering that as well. And then we also have a slew of other news that we're going to be getting into. It just seems like I keep repeating myself like a broken record, but every week it's just a tsunami wave full of news and everything else that's been going on. Whereas I'd say maybe about a year ago when we first kicked this thing off, there was really nothing going on,
Well, we had the election, so
well,
we had plenty to talk about.
The election, but nothing to this scale.
Well, the complexion of the world has changed so much in the last year. I mean, all those of us who disagreed with the Syrian
regime thing.
No, the Syrian immigrant flood, them coming across the borders. Basically, they marched into Europe.
Right.
We all knew this was going to happen. We were sad that it has, but the amount of attacks in Europe. I mean, in just the last 2 months, what are they up to? 6, 7, 8, 9? I mean, it's so bad that I'm afraid the Europeans will think this is their new normal. They need to realize they are under siege by people who live in their neighborhoods, and it's only going to get worse. And I'm surprised they didn't make more out of this last one, where the English guy ran into the people at the mosque.
Oh, the London mayor came out and he said that was a horrible act and to test.
See, now that was my point. He came out and said that was a horrible act, but where was he the last 3 truck?
Where was
attacks?
He about the guy that tried to did a failed car bombing in Paris when he rammed a police motorcade?
Right, and
it failed to blow up.
Thank goodness. And all he got for his trouble was some 9mm rounds.
And he didn't kill anybody.
Yeah, except himself, which is, I wish is the way it went for all of them.
But what speaks volumes about that guy, when you watch him and Piers Morgan, like I said prior.
That's a great clip.
I can't stand Piers Morgan. I actually do like that interview he did with Alex Jones, how he just shut him down. But anyways, Piers Morgan really laid it onto him. And it was really the London stand mayor. And it's just, it was really a great thing to see because he had nothing to come back with him. You saw the arrogance in his face, like, oh, we just got to get used to this type of thing. And it's just really sad to see that even though we haven't always agreed on everything back in the past during the Revolutionary War, that recently this is our greatest ally, and now you have the London mayor saying that Trump's not welcome over in England at all, even though he's just a mayor,
Well,
and it's just something in his own words that we just got to get used to, for the people of London.
Well, I think this mayor that London has currently is just a symptom of the infiltration and the march on Europe.
Right.
That the Middle East has performed. I have to say it's masterful. They didn't have to invade with tanks and armies. They just sent all their military-aged men to Europe and to claim refugee status. And the morons in the German and French government welcomed them with open arms.
The whole EU, the whole European Union.
Yeah, well, look, Brussels. We had an attack. Was it today? Brussels. I mean, It's hard to remember. It's hard to keep track of all this news. I really have to say. The bombings, the shootings.
Again, he didn't kill anybody either. He just had a bomb on his boat and blew himself up.
Well, that's fine. I wish they do that. I wish all of them did that. I think they should all practice. But my point is, this is a direct result of poor decision-making process on the leaders of the EU when this supposedly refugee crisis started.
The EU, like the leaders of EU, are now trying to find the countries that aren't taking in the refugees, like Poland. I think there's like Finland.
Yes, Poland, Finland, and there's another one. But yeah, well, they have that right.
They're like, we don't want them.
Well, it's mostly countries that were part of the old USSR, pretty much east of Germany, is they're not taking anybody. And again, that is their right. You know, it's just because they're part of the EU. I would definitely go
follow some
exactly.
EU leaders' rules.
Well, that's the reason Brexit happened, because they got tired of hearing rules and regulations coming out of Brussels who was dictating to a country that they hadn't even, they didn't have any power over. But no one wants to relinquish their power to a foreign bureaucracy, which is what the EU is. Yeah. Everyone has got together and said, I'll let somebody else make the hard decisions for me and I'll abide by them.
Right.
Which is a very European thing to do, apparently, because we don't do that kind of stuff over here. I hope not.
Trust me, I wouldn't want to do that.
Getting that way.
Yeah, obviously, very close. Yeah, but the unelected EU, just basically took Europe by storm, pretty much. And it was just based on the whole Nazi agenda, just reworded everything and pretty much put it into play. Now, it's just, again, going back to the terrorist attacks, we finally saw, unfortunately, a counter to it, pretty much, with the guy running into the people at the mosque. But, I mean, it's eventually going to be that, or they're going to start marching in the streets and start
this little attack by the guy at the mosque. It's an expected result. You cannot have, and I'm going to just speak plainly here for everyone, you can't have Islamists killing English citizens without some kind of blowback.
Right.
This guy probably just got fed up, probably was having a bad day.
And they even explained, he's a father of 4, he's lived there his entire life.
He's watched his country spiral down the toilet, and he can see who's doing it. They're right there in front of him. Every day. But where was all this condemnation from the Muslim community in the last couple of months? And
where's the disavowalment? Where's
the marches?
Where's the marches against radical Islam? I mean, it's just crazy that the Europeans aren't doing more. And the ones that are, like Tommy Robinson, who are exposing this stuff, always getting shot down. It's just really sad to see. They're not being put on mainstream media. You have the other, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a large Christians Against Islamist group out there in Europe. And I saw them on Facebook once in a while. I watched them, and it's just, and when they're showing the video of it, if you guys, people at home can look this up later, when they're showing video of it, they truly, the Muslims there truly believe that is now their home, and they, taken over. They're basically there to wipe out.
One of the tenets of the Islamic faith is where Muslim feet tread shall be ruled by Muslims. They believe wherever they are should be a Muslim country.
Right.
So I'm surprised the English have sat still this long. I mean, this like as I always said, this is a group of people who will kill each other over a football game. So it's only a matter of time before this boils to a head. And the government had better get a handle on it, or it's going to spiral out of control.
This was just a little steam boiling over.
This was one guy.
One guy, and he ran over 10 of them. He used their tactics.
Yeah, which is kind of ironic that he actually used a van.
He rented out the van
and drove 150 miles to do this.
Yes.
But I guess that particular mosque has had a history of being incredibly radical. It was even closed and then reopened again.
Right.
I'm sorry I believe if they've been found to be a radical mosque, you should close them and then take them down brick by brick. You shouldn't be able to open it again, because what have you changed?
Nothing.
Because
it's opened back up. It's still the same rhetoric that they've been preaching to their people. It's the same everything, just like the guys just said. And it's going to continue that way unless the people truly stand up as one against them, mostly Christians in this case. But the British used to be a really strong people back in the day, but now we're seeing them just fall apart. I mean, how is that?
Well, that's their government. It's like over here, our government's become soft. There was a time when we wouldn't have put up with,
Right.
you know, my grandfather, they would have never put up with this nonsense, not for 5 minutes. You know?
I mean, the population as a whole, I think, wouldn't put up with this crap.
Well, I
You
mean,
know?
we've become soft, let's face it. We got plenty of things to keep us entertained. We got smartphones, we got just whatever you can think of. I mean, our poor people live like kings.
Yeah, they do.
So there's no suffering in this country. Now, there might be some pockets of it and individual, but, you know, our poorest people still live better than some middle-class people in some third-world countries live. So, I mean, we're soft. Look, we have everything from an obesity epidemic to just cable TV. We're ripe for the picking.
Right, exactly. And it's again a really sad thing to see. You want to check that real quick?
I think it's going.
All right. Just possible technical issues, just like how we got some of the videos up. Last week episode, we're going to have that up shortly. So just stand by for that. We also have the March for Truth up finally. We're going to be posting that to Facebook, YouTube, everywhere else. Lance is just checking our equipment real quick, do a quick check, and then...
Because our audio-visual guy isn't here today.
He's watching though.
He should be watching.
But yeah, so it's just it's really crazy thing to see how much more is Europe going to take, how much more they're willing to endure with this religion of peace. So.
Well, they're going to force it to where they're going to kick out their liberal leaders because they're not going to want to follow them with open borders and everything.
Well, here's the upside: the liberal leaders in Europe are going to go away one way or another. Either their conservative constituents are going to get up and say that's enough, or they're going to lose and the Islamists will take over and they'll be gone either way. So I mean that they are just hoping that the Islamists kill them last kind of attitude.
I mean it's getting crazy over there. We'll be obviously continuing to watch that coverage as it goes.
I got a little good news on that front. Apparently, and I would love to butcher these guys' names. Abu Abar al-Baghdadi may have been killed in
What are you saying?
Yeah, exactly. Bless you, Gesundheit. In a Russian airstrike in Raqqa, which took place following an intelligence report that the ISIS chief was meeting with commanders to plan a last-ditch defense of the besieged capital of the caliphate. The Defense Ministry in Moscow confirmed that an attack had been carried out on 28th of May after information was received about the meeting. According to that information, which is now being checked via other channels, Baghdadi was present and he was eliminated during the strike. So there's a little good news all around. So for Baghdadi,
goodbye, man.
you're done.
That paper
Hopefully.
was for him.
That was it was a 3-pointer. So
Not bad.
well, I put that basket up over there on purpose just for that. Yeah, so that was a little good news. I love to hear when a ISIS commander leader gets blown up by a drone or a Mavericks type missile from a couple miles away.
And it was a Russian one.
Hey, the Russians can't be that bad. I don't care how many elections they get credit.
How many?
How many elections they hack? They'll take out an occasional ISIS
They
leader.
seem to control America right now.
Yeah.
well,
Well, then
Instead of
We're
make
just-
America great, make Russia great.
By making
Make,
America.
America
make Russia greater.
Yeah.
They got to help.
I mean, you can't make it up, folks.
Yeah, you really
make it
can't.
up. But before we cover the rest of the waterfront, just again, myself and George have the shirts. I'm going to be taking a trip.
You didn't watch this last week.
Yeah. I'll be yeah, so
We only had 3.
I'm going to be here next week. I'll be securing a deal to try to make more shirts at a cheaper price for us. So then we can get it out to you guys. So this is just one of the
Has been my favorite.
7 designs that we have currently.
I just don't like it. Looks like a sight reticle. Other than that, it's great.
Oh well. Liberty or death, don't tread on me. And then of course on the back we have our updated Stan logo with the website down below that, stanshow.com.
And I'm a T-shirt guy, and I like them. They fit good. They're good quality, so I'd buy one. But I get mine for free. So
Wow.
so far.
So far, we'll see what happens. I don't know. come out your check. So
Since we're starting the comedy thing, we'll go ahead and do another comedy article before.
Well, yeah, we've got to keep it
thing.
light. All news shouldn't be so depressing you want to kill yourself, but
right.
Well, they think the Russian thing's serious.
well, of course they do.
Right, and we're talking about the like we said in the intro,
Apparently, it's just gonna be all elections.
all elections from now on.
If they lose, Russians did it.
With the with the election down in Georgia, what was that?
It's Handel and Ossoff?
Yeah, Ossoff.
Something like that. The guy who doesn't even live in the district.
But see, that's my point.
know.
To the liberals, they don't even know how to put up a good candidate. They put $20 million into this race.
But they keep calling them the Trump slayers.
The Trump slayers, yes. Well,
that should be crossed out now because obviously you can't do that.
they spent $20 million on this little tiny election, which shouldn't even be a speck on. It shouldn't even make the news.
But they said this was going to turn the tide.
This was a referendum on Trump. It was going to show that everybody hated him. And the guy is running for a seat in a district he doesn't even live in. He wasn't even able to vote for himself. And
Isn't that funny?
If there's a God, and
maybe
there
that's
is,
why he lost.
I
He
want
wasn't
the-
able to vote
I want
for
the guy
himself.
to lose by one vote, his vote. That would be
Yeah.
hysterical.
That
Of course,
would
then
be.
it would just trigger a recount.
It's 58 to 42% right
Yeah,
now.
he's lost. Yeah, it's done.
They only have 48% of the votes in.
Generally they're pretty good about calling it. I mean
So
well, unless it's Hillary's running,
Russian
then they
interference.
completely
You
lost.
know, the next thing that could happen, 200,000 votes just swing his way or something.
I just, if the Russians are going to control everything, can they make sure I get more green lights when I'm driving across town? If they're going to infiltrate our our grid, something, because
Well, they already their security for our Super Bowl games now too. So
Yeah.
Obama put that into procedure.
Are they really? That's not a joke.
That's not a joke.
Nah.
The Russians are security.
Yeah. At NFL.
Well, I got to say, the Russians are pretty good at security. Maybe,
KGB.
Yeah, that might be a good, if you maybe
But it
bid
is-
to the highest bidder,
It
contract.
is
Right.
enemy forces on your land.
Yeah.
Security or securitizing your entertainment.
Yeah, that's that does smack a little bit of black helicopter.
bit.
Can't.
Just
Hey,
a little bit.
Maybe they just wanted to come over and see the Super Bowl for free.
Right, exactly. But go into the whole subject of war and everything. Possible war fronts that we do have are those abroad, and then now with Russia again. And I truly believe that the rhetoric coming from the left saying that the Russians hacked our elections and what they've done now in Georgia and everything is just, I think, really getting out of hand. It's really getting serious now. I don't think no one's laughing anymore.
I'm still laughing.
Well, not to those who are
If you-
empowered.
A little bit of intelligence. You gotta think it's funny at some point.
Well, it's ludicrous. It's not funny. It's ludicrous.
Right, exactly. But it starts off funny, and then it starts to eventually get serious to the point to where it's not funny anymore. Stop it, or we're
It's a
gonna do
Russian.
something. Right.
It's a Russian narrative.
And so exactly. So now we're starting to see the outcome of that.
Well, like we had, I believe it was today, an armed Russian fighter buzzed a U.S. Air Force reconnaissance aircraft in the Baltic Sea. This was quite common during the Cold War, so it doesn't bother me too much because I remember the day when this happened daily.
You didn't pull any triggers.
No, but he did get within 5 feet, which is incredibly unsafe, even for those guys. Even though they're
He's
all
trained
fighter
and
pilots are
stuff,
kind of
right.
hot dogging kind of guys. But the Russian Su-27 jet had air-to-air missiles under its wings and approached the U.S. Air Force RC-135 recon jet rapidly, coming within 5 feet of the American aircraft, said the officials.
Probably
That's
showed
very
his missiles.
provocative.
He just showed his missiles.
Well, no, that's incredibly provocative. That is,
Yes.
and the thing is, it's not that in itself is a terrible thing because we used to do it to each other all the time back in the day. But with the Democrats claiming that the Russians are responsible for everything that's wrong, they've made them an enemy.
Yes, that's
The
what
thing
I was
is-
getting at.
The Russians do not need to be an enemy. They can be adversarial. I mean, we spy on everybody. Everybody spies on us. We spy on Israel. We spy on Britain.
Yeah.
We spy on the Russians. They spy on us. This has been going on since, forever.
Right.
But this
Now it's
heated rhetoric that the left has,
Mainstream.
the heated rhetoric that the left has been just spewing constantly, and and which is surprising because they're closer to communists than anybody else. You'd think they'd be on the Russian side, but they've used the Russians as a scapegoat to cause confusion here in our ranks. I couldn't find the right word, but they've done that because it helps them proceed with their narrative that the election wasn't legitimate. So they're, kind of an odd roundabout way, they are causing a lot of this trouble with the Russians because the Russians hear all this.
Yes.
So after a while they're going to be like, hey, the Americans, not the Democrats, I use the word the Americans, think we're guilty of something,
right.
and it's going to start, it builds tensions.
Yeah, because in their eyes, they don't see Democrat, Republicans, left, right, whatever. It's the Americans making these claims, these falsities and everything else. And the rhetoric is now becoming something of that to where, say that the Russian jet collided with that reconnaissance
You
plane.
now have an incident.
Exactly. Not a matter, an actual incident,
Yes, it's not. We can refer to it as an incident, not a matter.
Right, exactly. And could that be the start? Could that sparked World War III? I'm not saying.
Well, I mean, we did shoot down a Syrian fighter the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and they are proxy to the Russians, so that heightens tensions.
Well, they
Right.
did put an ultimatum after that.
Yes, they did say that they would treat all of our aircraft, I think it's east of the Euphrates, as targets.
The targets, yeah.
And that's not good. But again, it's just one more brick in this growing tension that, and I have to say that the Democrats have started with blame Russia for everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Russia is not our enemy. They're our adversary. They're our rivals.
They could be one of our greatest allies.
If we were, and I've never had any love for the Russians, other than because I grew up thinking of them as communists and they were trying to take over the world.
Right.
That's not the case anymore. But if we were to at least be on a friendly footing with them, we could deal with other problems like China. North Korea wouldn't even be a problem.
No.
It'd be gone.
It'd be gone. Syria, the Middle East.
I think the pressure on China would be much greater than what it is now.
Yes, because then China would have to go it alone. And
exactly.
I honestly believe at some point China's going to cut North Korea off because they're just going to be trouble.
Well,
because
you
if
saw Trump's tweet about North Korea and China today, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he sent out an ominous tweet, as they say, saying something like, by the means of, well, for North Korea, it looks like China tried.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's not good. He's basically saying that he's wrote off the China being able to fix it.
Yeah.
So, and in my opinion, North Korea should its leadership should just go away because after what they pulled with our American citizen, they basically sent back a corpse.
Right, exactly. I mean, this kid over there was
sent him back in a coma and then he died.
Talking, breathing, walking, everything else. Days before, who knows how long. Before they actually they shipped him back, and then all of a sudden he arrives in a coma on his deathbed. I mean, obviously he died, unfortunately. God bless him, but it's just insane how that these people, that North Korea is able to get away with it. Well, I'm not going to say they're going to get away with it. As of right now, they are. We'll see how long the rope goes for.
Well. The shame of the whole thing is, and I hate to say this, and I feel bad for the parents because I saw the interview with his father, and
right.
He seemed like a nice man, and he's taken it much better than I would have if it was my child.
I think I would have flown over there.
You can't. If he'd have gone over there, he'd just be coming back in a coma probably. But he did say that the Obama administration had told him to keep a low profile, and Trump did say that maybe if this had gotten more attention, it might have had a different resolution. But I hate to say this, because thank goodness I'm sure the parents aren't listening, but since this young man has died, they really need to do an autopsy and find out exactly what killed him, because he didn't go into a coma over botulism and a sleeping pill.
Right.
I mean, who knows what they did to him? Who knows what's going on? But there are doctors out there, and I'm not about autopsies because I hate what it does to the body. But you know what? In this case, we need to know exactly what killed this man, because I'm pretty sure it's not natural causes. It's not botulism. They killed him, and then they sent him over here. Basically, they sent him over to die.
On life support.
On life support to die. And you have a duty as a country to take care of the people that are in your custody.
Right.
That's what civilized countries do.
Not barbaric ones like North Korea.
So yeah, he's just
Well, he's not. I wouldn't say he's barbaric. He's just cold-hearted.
no. They're
he's barbaric.
They're
But
barbaric.
when you enslave your people, millions of people, and they're not allowed to do anything, and then you
It's tyrannical.
it's barbaric. You know.
Well,
It's
his
really-
methods are barbaric. He's a tyrannical dictator.
I mean, he kills his own family. I mean,
Yeah.
So he doesn't lose any leadership.
Oh,
Makes perfect sense.
I guess, man.
If you don't want to lose control, kill the next person that can take control. And you
Yeah,
just
well,
have that much longer.
that's how dictators function. But unfortunately, all dictators, crumble. All of them have. So
Eventually.
yeah, hopefully we'll get to watch. Maybe his personal bodyguard one day will just get tired of it and
Just
fix
look
it
what
all
happened
for
to,
us.
Fidel Castro. I mean, he lived like 90 or something.
Yeah, I mean, he was a dictator for a while.
He held the reins until he couldn't do it anymore.
And then he just gave him to his brother.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how dictators work, and hopefully this one will go away soon because
Right.
he's a blight on the planet.
Well,
One of many.
before we get into our the next subject, which is just the Civil War here, just basically ending our little brink of war little thing we got going on. Again, the shirts are for sale, stanshow.com. Go on the store there. They always have discounts through our third-party site right now. Again, take a stand for liberty, and you're taking a stand for America as well. You're showing the people, showing the liberal left, that you're not going to stand for this anymore. And if a civil war does break out, unfortunately, hey, hopefully you're on the right side. We can identify each other. That's how I look at it.
Well, again, one thing I like about the shirt,
By the word gray and blue.
it's a statement. If somebody sees it, particularly this one, the "Don't Tread on Me," they know where you are.
They know who you are.
They know who you are, and that's I think I've always said that's the left's biggest weapon on us is they've made us all feel like we're alone.
Right.
I mean,
We're not, ladies and gentlemen.
You're sitting next to somebody at work and you have no idea what their politics are and you're afraid to approach them on it because because the liberals are so touchy that if you come out and say, I'm a little bit conservative, they don't just go, well, screw you, I don't like you.
They go, shame, shame, shame.
They attack you.
They will make, yeah, exactly. They'll
They
make
will
it known,
attack you.
this guy is conservative, shut him down. You know what I'm saying?
All you have to do is watch the videos.
Yeah, and they've been doing it all over the country. Every time.
Even our videos, they do it.
I love it though. I melt them. So.
I mean,
Well, you get a lot of heat
whenever a
off you.
conservative speaker tries to speak someplace, instead of going, I disagree with him, but I'm going to let him speak, they try to shut it down.
Exactly.
That is communist Marxist way. They don't want any differing opinions. And those in the left, the LGBT, the gay community, all those different groups, what they don't understand is that if the communist Marxist type government takes over, they like everyone to be exactly the same. So guess who has to give up their identity? It won't be the people in charge.
Nope.
It'll be the people that put them there. So if you like your pink hair and your facial piercings, that'll all have to go.
Your half-shaved head. I don't know. I understand that stuff.
I mean, America is the one place where you can do all that without anybody. I mean, you may not get the best job, but but you can do that.
You can still do it. And for the most people out there, the Christians, the conservatives, honestly, we don't care. Just don't come
I can
at me with
accept
that
anything, but I don't want to have to embrace everything.
Right, embracing that's a big key term. Along with the shirts here, I walked into a gas station with this thing, and I was turning heads. People were just.
That's because of your figure, actually.
Yes.
Oh well.
Little short, stout.
No, he's got that sexy going on.
Thanks, but but you turn heads with it. It really is a talking point. You meet like-minded people, just like we did for the anti-Antifa march.
We showed up to that yet?
Barely.
Oh.
No, you haven't.
No, that was last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh, so those of you who don't know, there was a Facebook page.
A Facebook page posted by our local Las Vegas Antifa.
Yeah, the ones we see in the news throwing rocks, breaking windows. They were going to have a rally last Wednesday down at
the Grand Sawyer
building. So we decided to go down and check it out, film them, talk to them,
If you can.
If you can.
If you can. We just wanted to go and observe and see what happens. Apparently we got trolled because the only people that were there were a bunch of people like us.
Right.
About 24 right-wing conservative Americans waving American flags, looking for all the Antifa
Gaston
people.
flag.
Yeah, a lot of "Don't Tread on Me," and we met a lot of great people.
Did any
We made
Metro show
connections. Metro, no, there was like two Metro.
Two Metro guys.
So which
that-
told me that there was no permit pulled.
Right.
No.
So we went down to see the big rally. It kind of was a big bust, but we got to thank the people at Antifa for setting up that
Absolutely.
because we would have never met more like-minded people like us, and now we have a network going, and we're growing every day. We want to thank the Antifa for being high and sitting on the couch at home, eating Doritos, watching some cartoon.
Or maybe it was too hot for him. I don't know.
But we met a lot of great people. We met more like-minded people that
Absolutely.
and we made connections. And so by their failure to actually have a rally, they helped us get stronger.
Right, exactly. And it just goes to
Keep
show.
up the good work.
Right, exactly. it goes again. We're not alone.
Exactly.
We are not alone. So you can check those interviews out. We're not going to make videos out of them just because they're short interviews, but they're posted on our Facebook page. We have 3 great interviews by Little Dog, Havoc, and Joe. I really appreciate
Yeah, check them out. The best way to explain is go look at them, listen to them.
I really appreciate you guys giving your time that day.
Yeah, it was good to meet them. It was a lot of fun. I won't say that I was a little disappointed that the Antifa people didn't show up because I wanted to see them. I wanted to let them know that they were not
Right.
going to go unopposed.
Peacefully into the night.
Well, with your hostile words, I'm sure something
well,
would happen.
the week before that we went to a little rally, and I asked some simple questions. Apparently, I was out of
This was
character.
for the March of Truth.
March of Truth.
Which we finally got done editing for your viewing pleasure, so it'll be up soon. So.
But basically, they were talking about having Trump thrown in jail or prison or something, and I just asked, could you just tell me what crime he's committed?
That's a hostile.
That's a hostile.
I got it.
Yeah,
I feel
totally
offended. And
The looks I got, and I was just like, that's all I asked, because I was trying to be impartial.
But
and
they kept trying to switch it over to something else.
Well, they don't want to answer
the
the
80,
question.
they're like the marchers over New York for the women's protest.
The women's
They got
protest,
80
apparently
years.
somebody got arrested.
Charged with
They're-
80 years.
They're getting
wow.
80 years in prison for causing a riot. Nobody gets 80 years in prison for causing a riot. O.J. Simpson,
He's getting out.
robbery, yeah, that's why I brought it up. Robbery
Yeah.
and kidnapping, he's going to get 7. Okay, but it was all baloney.
Mm-hmm.
But they just took such offense at me wanting facts. That's the kryptonite to a liberal. You don't even have to be right. Just ask them, what are your facts? And they'll run. Because they
Or
don't have
they're
any.
like, you're hostile.
Yeah.
I don't want you talking.
They had to run off to their safe spaces and
So
I
they just-
triggered them or whatever it is.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
melted a
Yeah.
couple of snowflakes that day.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that was fun though.
Trigger. But you
I-
got
I-
triggered too. So.
Yeah, I did get a little upset. I'm sorry, I get upset when I encounter stupidity
And it truly was
in an adult. Children, it's okay.
that march. I mean, they were all over the place. You can
They're
see
everywhere.
you can see the video. We'll have that up on the website stanshow.com as well as Facebook page. And it's just
Like I said, we always say you can't make this stuff up. You really can't. It's just
the truth is
I wouldn't.
stranger than fiction.
It must be hard for like reporters to actually go do this.
no.
But
But
that-
most reporters are just as dumb.
Yeah.
Have you ever listened to some of the questions these reporters ask the liberals? They're great big fluffy softballs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's easy.
What brings
So
you
you
out here
gotta-
today?
Carl Tucker said you got to ask questions like he does. You'll be in a fight every time.
Well, then you know you're asking a good question.
Right, exactly.
Because
but like George says, most of the media out here, our local media, including national media, they're just not going to. They'll be. What brings you out here today?
Yeah. Who's your favorite poet?
Oh,
You know?
that's a what? Whoa. Do you even know how to read?
You know, it's just dumb questions. You know,
It's real easy
it's all
questions.
sophomoric.
You know.
I mean, I can't say that I could ask a good question, but at least I know a good one when I heard it.
I mean, the reason why I sort of dumbed down the questions, I really, truly wanted to know why people were out there.
Well,
And
they couldn't answer it.
We really never got
They kept saying the Russian.
yeah, the
collusion.
Russian collusion.
There was a lot of
his
them.
taxes.
Yeah, there was a lot of them really stuck on his taxes, which I don't understand because there's no law
Look
requiring.
what happened to Maddow. She got burned.
Because she releases taxes illegally.
Yeah, well,
The
that,
thing
and
is-
also there was no anything
And
else
also,
out
he
of the
paid
ordinary.
25% of his taxes that
Well,
year.
he contributed $30 million to
That
the
year.
fund. But here's the thing: there is no law, no statute that requires the president or anyone running for the president to release their tax returns. It's been a courtesy that's become normal. I can't blame the guy for not wanting to do it. I wouldn't want these liberals knowing my business.
Right,
You
exactly.
know, he's not hiding anything. He has allowed a little privacy in his financial dealings prior to his running for office and being president. Now, if they want to look at his tax returns now, that's different. He's president. We should get to look at his tax returns. If that's even the law. If it's not, then I guess we don't get to.
I mean, it's
You know?
okay.
I don't want these guys looking at my tax returns. You know, I don't want anybody looking at my tax returns. Well, it's
thought we
kind
were
of
close.
embarrassing, actually.
Oh,
No.
okay. Well, never mind. I don't care less
I guess
about
so,
Obama's.
so.
I don't care less about the Clintons. I think would be intriguing.
I'd love to see the Clintons'
Oh,
real
yeah.
tax return.
Real.
The real financial
Everyone's.
statements.
But you know, it's just irrelevant, really. I mean, when it really comes down to their taxes, because either A, they're not going to really show the true taxes like the Clintons and Obamas, or you know, there's nothing really to see as we see in Trump's taxes. But anyways,
Well, anybody's tax return, any politician's tax return has been massaged for years to be perfect.
right.
It's the right amount of charitable contributions, the right amount of this. You know, that's what they do
Absolutely.
because they're career politicians, and that's why Trump's like, I'm not showing you my tax returns because he's not a career politician. He's a businessman that said, my business is my business. Hey, I like that. It worked out pretty
Yeah.
good. Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
Man, that's quick. Anyways, try to get back to what we originally we're saying. So my biggest thing right now is the rhetoric of the Civil War looming in America right now, and I know we're having fun and everything, but I mean, folks, this is really getting to the point where just like how Russia, we might be going to war with Russia, everything else. I'm more really concerned about the Civil War here in America than anything else right now. Just because of the simple fact of how the left, again, hyped up this whole thing and sort of put a great divide in the nation. Whereas, you know, the right wing to a certain extent was just laid back in this. And we're sort of like, okay, well, if you guys want to raise it, we're going to raise it. And right now, and I'm just putting that out there, if they do want to start a war, I mean, you know, we're going to obviously take the defensive side,
No.
and well,
We'll
I am.
defend this country but I believe offense is the best defense. No, but you were talking about the way they want. We've actually seen them carrying banners saying that they want a war, that America needs to be torn down, the government needs to be overthrown. We have a video on Facebook that I shared. We should put it on the stand, of a woman talking about how all people should give up their money, they should just die, you know. And this is their attitude. They don't want compromise. They want a war. They want anarchy. They want to destroy the institutions that have provided them this comfortable living that they now resent.
Well, because they're spoiled punks, you know, who got it all and they still want it all for free, you know. And
Well, they don't even want it for free anymore. They just, I don't even know what their message is. They're just angry little snot-nosed brats who think that somehow America is bad, that we're not allowed to be a powerful nation because of something that happened in our past, which is subjective. So they want a war, and I've always said, be careful what you wish for, because there are more guys sitting around in their living room who know how to shoot, hunt, fish, track,
survive,
and kill.
you know.
Because
I
we got a
did-
lot of veterans.
I did send you a new type of ammo today.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. It was pretty cool. You gotta love technology. It was really scary. But yeah, so I mean, if they continue to break windows and riot and march, I mean, I think it's slowed down now because it's kind of hot. Nobody wants to riot in the heat.
well, especially, you know, that's
We got another one for that.
That's
Another,
it.
yeah,
the end.
that's the end.
Yeah.
Another
But,
great fake news article,
but they do.
Absolutely.
We've seen them actually come out and say that they have to destroy our system of government because they don't like capitalism. Even though again, capitalism is what's brought them. And my example of capitalism is right here.
right.
My phone. All of us can remember rotary. Well, some of us can remember rotary phones.
I can
Push button phones.
vaguely.
This
my
is
grandmother had
capitalism
one.
right here. Capitalism is building a better mousetrap. They built a better mousetrap, and now we got phones. They're the greatest things on the planet. We can talk to anybody from anywhere And
I can look up anything at
Yeah,
any given
and
time,
these-
whatever time of night. It doesn't matter.
these little anarchists forget that this is what capitalism gets to.
I mean, do you
wanna
think
look-
people in North Korea have these great devices? Do
Well,
people in China have this? You know?
Cuba's my example of
Or
a communist
Cuba,
country.
yeah.
They're still driving around in cars from the 50s.
50s.
You know they can get parts
That's
from other
true.
countries besides America.
Nope.
They just don't want them. They don't want their people to have a quality of life like we have, because somehow our quality of life is bad. I mean, we've talked about this before. Even the poorest people in this country live better than almost the middle class it does in some third world countries.
Right. Exactly.
We're obese. We eat Cheetos. We got cell phones. We got cable TV. Life's pretty good in America, and it needs to stay that way.
Cheetos are good.
Well, I don't eat them anymore, but they are delicious.
They match your color of your hair.
I guess. I don't know.
Well, that's how I dye my hair. Just eat
Oh,
Cheetos.
wow. You and
Don't
Chuck have something
don't make
common.
fun of my ginger.
Cheeto dust.
Cheeto does.
Um,
But yeah, so we got to really keep an eye on them, because while we joke and have a good time and share what we know with our audience, there are groups of people out there who quietly plot our destruction.
Right, and now it's got to the point to where even Bernie Sanders says time for action is now, along with Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren.
Who was it that was it Lynch?
Those
Yeah.
are hateful words.
Well,
Fine.
Hey,
Come
she's
after
the one that
me.
claimed she was a Native American.
Yeah,
She
and then it
looks-
come out to be false. So
She looks about as Native American as I do. Sorry, I'm not. the red hair thing again. But was it Lynch that said there
It
has
was,
to be
yeah, it was,
blood in the streets?
right,
People
exactly.
have died. You know, they advocate violence, and which
And
is a direct result of what happened last week at the ball field for the congressional softball practice.
exactly.
and then they start harping on the guy while he's still in the hospital.
Oh yeah, that's the left has no soul. I'm sorry, the left has no
really,
soul.
Well, I mean, if you look at it from a spiritual side, they really did sell their soul to Satan. And it just
Well, no,
goes
they
and it really
because they sold
shows.
their soul to Satan. They don't believe in him. That's why they can do whatever they want. There's no repercussion in this life or the next life.
Right. Well, I mean, it depends how you look at it. It's just whatever they believe them, don't believe it, whatever. I mean, they've really gone down the path of evil. Man.
Well, just
Well,
look
they are
at
just
you
evil.
know, I mean, the New York Times thing is still promoting that Caesar played at New York Park.
Right. Exactly.
Which I'm very proud of the people who got up and
Yeah.
protested it, because that's just a tiny taste of the left's medicine, and the left had kittens over it.
Yes.
they couldn't. They don't know how to
How
handle
They've
it.
dare
done it
they?
like 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah, well, it's going to happen more and more.
Yeah.
See,
And it should. It absolutely should.
something that I've noticed, that the right in this country has, not as a whole, but as little groups have finally said, by God,
Enough's
that's
enough.
enough. Enough's
Exactly.
enough.
That's what the guy in Europe did. He just
Yeah,
took
he
it-
snapped.
He
We're
took it
gonna
to the
have that's going to
extreme.
happen. That's going to happen more and more, because tensions are high, because the Democrats and the liberals won't back off the evil, hateful rhetoric.
Right.
I've never heard any Republican get up there and advocate 1% of what I hear the liberals advocating. Rioting in the streets. You got to tear this down, burn that building, break that window. They're out
I
of
mean,
control.
if they want a damn war, they're going to get one, and it's not going to end it's not going to end nice for them at all.
I don't honestly think it will come to all-out warfare, but it's
No,
going
it's going to be pockets of little
There's gonna
battles.
be
It's gonna be
rioting.
Yeah.
militias.
They'll be rioting. Well, they don't want militias.
No.
No,
So National Guard come, right?
Yeah.
no. You don't want National Guard out there either.
Right. Exactly. It's going to be these little battles in the streets, and either it's going to be it can progress into something bigger, or it's going to turn into a martial law scenario.
Well, I think it'll be
And we'll see.
similar to the riots during Rodney King, where we'll have a lot of public unrest, but
Well,
this
I mean,
country will clamp
they
down.
They were shooting at each other in Rodney King.
Oh yeah, there was shootings, there was burnings, there was a lot of
But
death.
it's only going to get clamped down if the media stops.
Well, the media is part of the problem.
Right, absolutely. You have MSM, you have MSNBC, you have CNN. Obviously, with that one reporter saying that good that
She's
he's
from CNN.
right. Exactly, it's good that he got shot pretty much.
Yeah, and anybody who gets on the TV and says they think, and this is for both sides, and I know we joke around a little bit here about the anarchists and what should happen to them, but it's mainly a joking. I don't want anyone to get hurt. I think they should all just straighten up. But my point is, when a CNN or MSNBC
MSNBC.
anchor gets up there and mocks and makes fun and tells her audience that this congressman deserved to get shot. What is that? That she just told somebody else, go shoot another one.
Well, yeah, the green light's out there. That's what I'm saying. That they've been given the green light. This was just one indication of it. This guy, and then asking, was this the Republican side? Of
well, it's
the
obvious.
field? Right.
It
was, and this guy's a terrorist. He should be labeled as a terrorist, a domestic terrorist.
No. He would only been a terrorist if he had been a Republican and shot some Democrats.
Oh, you're right.
So that's
he sort of did fit the.
He was a Bernie Sanders supporter. He was a total Bernie Sanders supporter. But it goes back to what I've said in the past, that, and I'm going to refine it a little bit, that the media is the fifth column in this country. They're the ones fighting us from the inside. And I'm going to change that a little bit. I actually believe the news media in this country is the Democratic Party.
Well,
they really
the
are.
Anti-American Party.
Well,
really.
They set the tone for the Democrats, the politicians. They decide what's important. They decide what we'll all talk about. They decide what news is. So they are driving a narrative constantly. And when the whole country is watching this narrative, the politicians have to react to it. So in a sense, the news media is the power players, and the politicians are their puppets.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they pay them.
The mainstream media has been bought out by major corporations, George Soros, special interest groups, etc. We can go on for hours about this.
How is it that no one investigates George Soros?
Well,
too powerful.
No.
Nobody's too powerful, because
I don't
know the federal
it.
government they could go in and with a flip of a switch seize his funds.
Whatever
he's got in America anyway.
His house in the Hamptons. His house.
I'm sure he's diversified. We can't hurt the guy.
No.
Right.
But we can
kick him out of the country, just like how Russia did, and put a warrant on his head if he comes back in.
Well, the guy turned in. Was he in Hungary?
Yeah.
He turned in Jews to the Nazis.
And he's a Jew.
Yes.
He's a Jew. He's a Jewish person.
Okay,
and
right there,
just goes to show what
he's
kind
a horrible
of
person.
character he is. Right. Exactly.
So. Anyway,
we can seize his house in the Hamptons or whatever.
There was an article of him bribing the Ukrainian president and the Prime Minister.
He did, and that's how they overthrew the whole Ukraine government.
Gave him like $15 billion.
Exactly. Now they have a neo-Nazi fascism government over there.
Yeah, there's the real fascist.
Oh, exactly. He is the problem. But again, it goes back to who's he paying.
Well, he sends money out to all these groups.
Right.
I mean, the Antifa people, they travel. They travel from city to city to do these protests and these marches. Working people can't travel.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny that we even have the time to go down to...
We barely have the time to do this.
Right, to do this, the marches, everything else, and it's just... exactly. And it is hard to try to get something like this up off the ground. That's why I always need your support in this, to take the stand for liberty, and hopefully we can reach thousands again. So we are trying to get back on the radio. For those who recently joined us, we were on KKVV, and recently we got invited back, but we do need the financial support as well. So
but we're working on it because we want to get to a larger audience. We enjoyed the radio. That's where we kind of got started. That was where I got started. You guys were doing the Facebook thing before I came on board. But I went into there cold, and I've been doing ever since. I love it, But we like them down there. We like them.
Yeah, I mean, I love the people down there. I love being on radio. I think it just gave us that extra dynamic. And then, of course, being on Facebook, YouTube, and everything else, just to try to reach the masses, And again, you just purchase shirts, take the stand for liberty. This is just one of 7 designs that we have currently. We're going to have, once I get the other shirts in, we'll be wearing them so you can showcase them, so you can see what they look like on a real person instead of just a model on...
and we're going to try not to... We're going to go in a rainbow color one night.
I don't know about that.
Or close. We can give him 3 colors. We'll get him a rainbow again. But speaking of the station, which is a Christian broadcasting station, which I love being down there.
Right. I
had a little my last story. I think I'll just get with, and then we'll move on to things.
Yeah.
But it was about some of you may have heard the cross in Pensacola, Florida, in a park. The court has ruled that it has to come down within 30 days. basically 4 or 5 people got together and filed suit. It was the American Humanist Association. Wow, that's a word I can't. Legal Center. That's a toughie right there. I tried to read that earlier.
Apanash.
Yeah. Basically, the reason I wanted to bring it up is, I mean, they've been bringing down crosses around the country, and they've been attack on Christmas and Christians all in general. But they interviewed the one of the lawyers for the opposing side, the ones that wanted it down, and what she said struck me so hard that it's why we can't argue with them logically, because they don't think logically. She said, and I'm going to paraphrase, of course, that the cross being up in the park was a clear sign to everyone who was not a Christian that they weren't welcome there. Now, I don't know about the rest of you. I'm not a real big religious person, but I never have looked at the cross and felt unwelcome, even though I'm not a true believer. I mean, the cross does not tell people you can't come in. It's the most welcoming symbol on the planet. Okay, nothing says, come on in, get some soup. All your troubles will be better here. I mean, it's a cross.
Like you said, even if you're not really a hardcore Christian or anything else like that, you can just come up off the street and say, I just want some food, and they'll be able to.
They're the most compassionate people on the planet, and that's what that cross represents. Now, any other symbols? I'm sure they're just as compassionate, but the fact that lawyer had the gall to say that cross didn't make other people feel welcome shows that they don't know what it means.
Well, it goes beyond that. The attack on Christianity is throughout the world. We see ISIS all the time, the articles in the news, pushing homosexual people off rooftops, executing them in the streets, beheading them. The genocide that's happening in Christianity throughout the Middle Eastern world is just unprecedented. And the people trying to escape can't escape. Just like the refugees from Syria. I think one out of every 10. The problem with the refugees
from Syria is that it's not Christians that we're letting in.
That's what I was about to say. Exactly. Well, maybe 1 out of every 50 were let in, or even that.
What about? And I don't remember the exact group it was, but it was a group of Christians trapped on a mountain.
Yeah.
They got caught in between and got killed.
Yeah, they were abandoned by this country on top of a mountain. Obama didn't drop them a bottle of water, as far as I can tell.
He's not going.
They were on vacation though.
No, it was a whole group of people. I mean, we're talking thousands. I want to say Zaidi.
Because I know last week there was a family.
No, this was a couple years ago when Obama was still in office. That they were trapped on a mountain and they were begging for our help. They didn't get any.
Right, absolutely. They're not going to, just because again the genocide is real.
If they had been Islam, it would have been our duty.
Yeah, if they would have been Muslim, we would have to get a Lisa Chinook up there. A couple of
water and food for days.
Right, exactly.
Put soldiers' lives at risk.
Put 4 or 5 pallets up there of food and water, and we did our humanitarian mission. But of course, they're not going to see that. We're not going to see that, especially in, like I said, in the Middle Eastern countries, and the attack on Judaism as well, not just Christianity. And it's just like I said, the people in Jerusalem are really the shining beacon over there. In that dark place,
Israel is the only place where Muslims can practice their religion openly,
peacefully,
and more so than other Muslim countries.
Right.
See, the Israelis allow Christians and Muslims to practice their faith in their country, and their next door neighbor won't. But yet somehow the Israelis are bad people.
They're horrible people. That's why they should be, wiped off the face of the earth. And I'm being sarcastic, obviously.
But at some point, if we don't stand by them, they will suffer at the hands of the Iranians or one other.
Whoever, Saudis, I don't know.
The Saudis and the Egyptians, I think they're not worried. They're not really openly hostile at this point.
Yeah, not right now.
Maybe covertly hostile. But the Iranians, basically, I guarantee you, if they build 4 nukes, one of them's landing in Tel Aviv.
Yes.
And the other 3 are coming this way.
Yep. I do not agree with that. I don't disagree with that at all.
So
anyway.
Well, let's go to our last topic.
Yes.
So our last topic is from the Daily Mail. And I
forgot about this.
Uber fake news, ladies and gentlemen.
Its article is, this refers to us here, too hot to handle. Las Vegas and Phoenix are reduced to ghost towns as temperatures hit 118 degrees and climbing. Grounding planes and leaving door handles so hot they burn.
Yeah, they had to issue warnings to be careful of doorknobs because it could be too hot. If you've lived in Las Vegas for more than 10% of a summer, you know that stuff outside's hot. And it's not a ghost town. I was just down on the strip earlier today. Guess what? Thousands of lobster-red people in short pants and shirts walking around.
Their first picture of Las Vegas here is a picture of the very front of the Brooklyn Bowl in between the Cosmo and I think Flamingo.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
it's just some little walkway.
And it has like 3 or 4 people in there.
No, it's
But
hot
they're
out there.
like,
We won't lie.
It's a ghost town.
We won't lie. It's hot out there. But it gets this way, let's see, every single summer.
Maybe they should try to take a peek into the pools in the casinos. I bet they would have
Or
been
just go
ghost
to the
towns there.
strip. Just go to the strip.
Well,
see
I
what
tell you, it
people-
was down at the strip. It was crowded.
I mean, if you go to casino, it's really not that hot. You probably endure maybe 5 minutes till you hit the next casino door, you know. And it's just, obviously fake news. You know, people are like astonished. Now, I do feel sorry for the people down in Yuma, Arizona. I was down there for a summer, and it is really hot. I thought it was hot here. No, Yuma, Arizona has nothing on Las Vegas heat.
Well,
The people down there, really worship the rain because it only happens every
For an afternoon every week.
yeah, exactly. And people will go out into the streets and then celebrate and everything else. It's just a really amazing sight to see.
One of the things in that article, they were talking about how planes couldn't take off because of the heat.
Right.
Now this was up on the radio earlier today, and I listened to it, and I laughed hysterically because I don't know anything about airplanes, and even I know about this, is that, the hotter the air, the less dense it is, the harder it is for the plane to gain lift. There are only 1 or 2 models of planes out there. One of them happens to be for United. It's a corporate, basically a puddle jumper. It stops flying at 118 degrees because it doesn't generate enough lift to get off the ground safely. Can still do it, but that's just the cutoff point. Well, Phoenix and Las Vegas and Lake Havasu and all these places, we get to 118 on occasion. That's just a fact of life in the desert.
Right.
So, but the news media made it sound like the airports were grounded and closed. No commercial traffic stopped. Regular airline service has been going on unabated all day and probably will continue to do that. So, what we're trying to say is when you read the news or you hear some statement that sounds a little bit off, it probably is, and it bears a little research. That's all we're saying. And yes, don't touch the doorknob outside. It's hot. It'll burn your hand.
Well, go back to
That's the warning for today.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
And
go into what you just said momentarily. Do your own research, ladies and gentlemen. Just because we're up here on our little soapbox sometimes, do your own research. Just because what we say, don't take
our word for it.
Exactly.
Because we're just 3 guys in front of a camera. And
Also seat belts. Beware of seat belts.
You know what? I'm going to tell a little story real quick. About 20 years ago, a really hot summer, I was wearing a pair of short pants, and I got in my truck, and there was a nickel on the seat that had fallen out of my pocket, and I sat on it. You remember the old cigarette lighters that used to push in? They had the little coil in it?
Right.
I thought somebody had either stuck me that or I'd been bit by a snake. I had never moved so fast because I sat clean on it, right on my top of my leg. Yes, it gets hot out here. You won't get a 3rd degree burn, but you could get a 2nd, and use some sunblock because this is the desert. Drink lots of water. You shouldn't have to tell you that. Remember.
What?
Yeah. It goes back to the thing.
Heresy.
If the cup of coffee has coffee in it, it might be hot. Doesn't need a warning. That's all I'm saying.
Unless you see ice cubes in it, then it might be cold.
Contents may be hot. You shouldn't have to label it. Shouldn't have to tell you it's hot in the desert. If you don't know it's hot in the desert, then Darwinism.
Or don't eat paint.
That is so colorful.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious, ladies and gentlemen.
See, Darwinism still works in the city. It just takes longer.
It's just true comedy at this point, you know.
But that's total fake news. I mean, the Russians hacked an election.
Again.
Vegas is a ghost town. That's all BS. Take it all with a grain of salt. Look it up yourself. Find several sources. And I really would like the Russians to tell us how they made it rain in Georgia to suppress the vote. Because could they make it rain here? Because it's really hot.
I feel like Russia just controls the world at this point.
Is
There
this
it
on?
is.
Is this
There-
on? Is this on? Did Russia turn my mic off?
They must have. I can't hear you anymore.
If it wasn't so,
I'm just in an
it's
the
funny.
Booyah box.
It's funny, but it's serious in the sense that we have really lost our way as a society, that we believe such silly things so easily.
I mean, the as kids we believe the boogeyman was always in our closet, but now the boogeyman is Russia, and he's out and exposed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
Tormenting the earth.
He's always
How
been there,
dare
George.
he's always been there.
Russia's always been there.
How dare he?
Just make it rain in Vegas a couple times a year. That's all.
Yeah,
we ask.
please, Russia. We beg of you.
Where's this arc machine that they have?
Oh, we laugh, we joke, but like I said, it's a little serious.
No, it is
People
serious.
have fallen for it. I mean, the Russian thing. Okay,
They're gonna just keep using it and
Well, they
using
went.
it
They went
and
from
using it.
hack the election to collusion with Trump to
Hacking
obstruction of
regulations.
justice.
hacking district seats now.
Yeah. Well, the first off, the counting of the votes are not done electronically.
Done by
Voting,
machine.
casting the votes are not done electronically because each person had to go down. Russia did not make us change our vote.
No.
You know, John Podesta may have made some people change their vote, but that's his fault for writing dumb things in an email.
There you go.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. The only people who really do weather manipulation is actually us, the United States. And there's actually patents and everything else on it, a whole bunch of things. So, yes, there is weather manipulation. It's called experimentation going on. We covered that a long time ago. So that video's up on YouTube. You can check that out.
They still have machines that they try to work on it.
Right. But that's to get off another tangent, another subject for another day. But yeah, we do have that video up on YouTube and stanshow.com, so you can check that out as well. So like George says, yes, we like to joke around, but the topics that we talked about today, the Civil War, the possible war with Russia, are real. Possible scenarios that could be played out at any given time. It's just like we talked about earlier. That plane, buzzing by, that recon plane could have crashed, and boom, that could have been it.
It could have been a catalyst for something bigger.
Exactly.
Thank goodness it wasn't. But there was also said that they had 35 other incursions like that since
Right.
June 2nd. So it happens every day. Just this one got a little close and happened to make the radar in the news media.
I know not to bring up to go back at it, but I think even before we started to go to war with Russia.
So
I think Trump. President Trump. I think would really just reach out to Putin. They should just end it. They should just end this and have a meeting with one another.
They're two grown men. They could just get on the phone and go, listen, let's just figure something out.
Exactly.
I mean, I know Washington hates for things to be that simple, but it really is just that simple.
Right.
I could just see Putin calling Trump and being like, Trump, and then Trump be like, yeah, my guys are stupid. And Putin's like, yeah, mine are too. So.
Yeah, it's something to that effect. Two guys talking about a mistake. Hey, I bumped your fender. Call my insurance company. I'll call yours.
Yeah.
But you get Pelosi and Schumer mixed into it, and the next thing you know,
Right.
they're colluding.
Yeah. And
That's what it was. That the recon plane and the fighter, they were colluding on something.
They were telling each other
exchanging
signals,
secrets.
Yeah.
signals through the windows.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Trump will be there on Thursday. I know. Again, we laugh and but it is so ludicrous the things that we hear out there. I just want to tell everybody: keep a level head, stay smart.
Right.
Just
exactly.
realize who your enemy is, and they're dumber than you are.
Great point, George. So with that, Lance, any closing comments, George?
No, I'm good.
No, just it's been a blast. We're very happy to do this. We hope everybody will share these videos with their friends. We had a great influx of new views in the last couple of weeks. With the interviews we did down at the Grant Sawyer building, met a lot of great people. We're hoping this is the beginning of a much wider network for all of us to get together and
Right.
come together and just share ideas and share what we know and encourage each other that America is still the greatest country on this planet
Hands
and will
down.
continue to be so only if we defend it.
Exactly. If we don't, just it goes back to the oath that myself and George took in the military. But I think that should be extended to all citizens. To support and defend the republic I know Lance, he wasn't part of the military, but I know he abides by that every day. And I can really I really appreciate it. You know, it's just, you know, coming from other people besides people who are in the military. You know, it's just our great citizens who truly love America. You know.
Well, what's the saying you got? You have to protect the country.
Well, I don't know
outside
I don't have the whole oath in front of me, but basically, promise to protect, defend the Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic.
Right.
Some other stuff in there, but basically,
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I used to have it on my phone so I could read it every now and then. But basically, for me, I don't remember anyone relieving me of that oath. So far as I'm concerned, it still applies. Just because I'm a civilian now, doesn't mean I still don't abide by that oath. So, you pajama-clad anarchists just should remember that. There's a lot of guys out there who feel the same way.
A lot.
Usually.
A lot.
Veterans.
Usually veterans, yes.
I hope so. Good one, man. It's a good one, man.
Okay.
But anyways, Shane Williams, George, and Lance taking the stand for liberty.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. God bless you and God bless America.
Have a good evening.